So, food topic on tonight is Happy Folly Days, and we're going to be talking about Labor Day since today is Labor Day. Okay,
so I'm gonna Happy Folly Days.
Yeah, Happy Folly Days. Okay, so I'm going to bring out some information on the history of Labor Day here in this nation. Then I'll bring out some precepts. Okay, so why do we celebrate Labor Day? Labor Day, an annual celebration of workers and their achievements, originated during one of American labor history's most dismal chapters. In the late 1800s, at the height of the Industrial Revolution in the United States, the average American worked 12-hour days and 7-day weeks in order to eke out a basic living. Despite restrictions in some states, children as young as 5 or 6 toiled in mills, factories, and mines across the country, earning a fraction of their adult counterparts' wages. Okay, so Labor Day came about because of terrible working conditions. But before this happened in the Industrial Revolution, we had it as a people. It was called American slavery. We got paid nothing. Okay, so let us keep this in mind when we want to go out and celebrate on this Labor Day and have barbecues and do whatever we do, whether it be, Memorial Day in May, 4th of July in July, Independence Day, or whether it's Labor Day. We got to keep all these things in perspective. We get the day off of work, and I appreciate it because I don't want to be on the plantation, but I'm not going to commemorate, celebrate, observe this day. This is just another day on the American calendar. Okay? But I'm going to keep reading. People of all ages, particularly the very poor and recent immigrants, often face extremely unsafe working conditions with insufficient access to fresh air, sanitary facilities, and breaks. Oh, that's so terrible. That's so bad. People of all ages, they repeated it, as manufacturing increasingly supplanted agriculture as the wellspring of American employment, meaning manufacturing plants replaced niggas on plantations picking cotton. That's essentially what this is. That's code for that. So once immigrants came and took the jobs in the factories, they didn't too much need niggas on plantations picking cotton, whether it be through American slavery or later through the Reformation and what is it called? Sharecropping. Okay, where they paid us little to nothing to manage the land. Okay, slavery by another name they call it. All right, as manufacturing increasingly supplanted agriculture as the wellspring of American employment, labor unions, which had first appeared in the late 18th century, grew more prominent and vocal. They began organizing strikes and rallies to protest poor conditions and compel employers to renegotiate hours and pay. Why wasn't that done for us? Okay, let's all keep this in mind when we think about Labor Day. Think about any of these holidays. Okay, so when the immigrants came and they complained and said things are terrible, they went and changed. They set legislature, into play, and they made other changes, okay, to accommodate them. But we were still slaves. Okay, we still occupy the ghettos in America. The immigrants came over to Ellis Island. We're looking for inexpensive housing, and they lived in the ghettos. But after a few short decades, they progressed as a people and came out of the ghettos. We're still in the ghettos. And we've been here since the inception of this nation. And we built this nation, but we still occupy the ghettos, and the places of poverty in this nation, okay? Many of these events turned violent during this period, including the infamous Haymarket Riot of 1886, in which several Chicago policemen and workers were killed. Others gave rise to long-standing traditions. On September 5th, 1882, 10,000 workers took unpaid time off to march from City Hall to Union Square in New York City, holding the first Labor Day parade in U.S. history. The idea of a working men's holiday celebrated on the first Monday of September caught on in other industrial centers across the country, and many states passed legislation recognizing it. Congress would not legalize the holiday until 12 years later, when a watershed moment and American labor history brought workers' rights squarely into the public view. On May 11th, 1894, employees of the Pullman Palace Car Company in Chicago went on strike to protest wage cuts and the firing of union representatives. Okay. Last part here. Why do we celebrate Labor Day? Labor Day, I'm sorry. Here it is. Who created Labor Day? In the wake of this massive unrest, in an attempt to repair ties with American workers, Congress passed an act making Labor Day a legal holiday in the District of Columbia and the Territories. On June 28, 1894, President Grover Cleveland signed it into law. More than a century later, the true founder of Labor Day has yet to be identified. Many credit Peter J. McGuire, co-founder of the American Federation of Labor, while others have suggested that Matthew McGuire, a secretary of the Central Labor Union, first proposed the holiday. Okay, so comes about because people, especially immigrants, white folk, okay, who had to manage to find a living, okay, because now the world that used to be, or the way that the economy used to be when there were slaves on plantations and they reaped the benefits of that, now they're having to fight for those jobs, okay, the self-same jobs as we had to fight for, okay. And with the Industrial Revolution, all these things coming about, it made conditions worse for them, and now they're fighting to have, you know, equal pay and, you know, union representation and all this other stuff. And they wanted a working man's holiday. They wanted a holiday just for them. These are the benefits that they fought for, and they were awarded that by the government. Okay, Salakia. But we're just gonna bring out a few precepts about it. Okay. Can you read a couple for me? You have your Bible? Mm-hmm. First, I'm going to grab Ezekiel chapter 11, verse 12. Okay. This is not our home. We're here as pilgrims. We're here as captives in this land. We're oppressed, but this is not our home. Okay? No matter how many times they try to tell us and reinforce the idea that this is our home, this is not our home. We have a home that's over the Atlantic in Israel. Okay? And if we be diligent to keep the commandments and not participate in the customs of the heathen and not observe their holidays and their traditions, then we shall be counted worthy to enter into our home and dwell in safety. Okay? We're not equal. There's not justice here. Okay? We never shall obtain that in this nation. Okay, because this land and this dispensation here in this land was purposed from the Most High to be our punishment. We're not going to receive the things that we want in this life here in America. This is our punishment. So Ezekiel chapter 11, verse 12, and it reads, Ye shall know that I am Yahweh, for ye have not walked in my statutes, neither executed my judgments, but have done after the manners of the heathen that are round about you. Okay, so when we go outside, you see what the heathen is doing with all the other nations. America, this melting pot of different cultures and nationalities and ethnicities. Okay, they have their way. The American government has erected their different holidays and different customs and all that. We're not to follow after that. But that's what we do anyway, though. The Most High has given us statutes, judgments, laws, commandments, all of that to follow. We don't want to follow that, but we do everything that we see the heathen round about us doing. Okay? You need to come out of that. You have your Bible? Mm-hmm. Go. Can you grab Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 30? Matter of fact, don't grab 2nd Esdras chapter 8. I'm going to read Deuteronomy.
2nd Esdras 8.
and 27, as well as chapter 15, verse 24 and 25. And I'm going to read Deuteronomy 12 and 30. Take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them, meaning following after the heathen, following after these foreign nations, after that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. So, whether it be gods or policies, traditions, customs, or rites of passage, whatever it may be, if these nations, these other peoples, have their own way of doing things, the Most High is saying, don't go after it. And don't inquire and be inquisitive and curious. Wow, that's kind of neat. You know, what is this here? Okay, let me look in the book of the Edomite and see what they did. Oh, wow, that's kind of different. They worship. Okay, they're going to conjure spirits. And okay, this is how you do a seance. This is kind of different. It's kind of weird. Don't even look into it. Don't even research it. Put it away from you and keep the commandments of the Most High. Don't be inquisitive. Don't be trying to look into it, asking questions, going on Google trying to research. Don't even do that. Stay to the commandments that the Most High gave to us as a people. Okay? Go ahead and read 2nd Esdras chapter 8, verse 27 first.
Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen.
Salakia, regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, like Labor Day, these other holidays, okay? Whether it be the wearing of the mask because of Corona. Man, these people are bugged out here, man. They wear a mask when they're walking down the street by themselves. They wear a mask when they're riding their car by themselves. And if they see you without a mask, they go haywire. They lose their cotton picking mind, man. Had a female just tell me, what are you doing? You shouldn't be in here not wearing a mask because of Corona. I'm like, you bugging, man. I'm not concerned about no Corona. But read that again.
And 27. Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen.
Regard not, meaning don't even think about it. Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen. Go on.
But the desire of those that keep thy testimonies in afflictions.
So focus on what it's saying there. Essentially is like those brothers that you see out there in the camps on the street corner, right? Who are keeping his testimony in affliction, meaning in the land of their captivity, through the midst of persecution. Look to them as a witness. Look to them. Okay, just like it said in Deuteronomy, don't look up and research the wickedness of these other nations, their gods and their ways, their customs, their history. But go study the men on the corner. Go sit up and listen to them, what the prophets have to say. Read it one more time.
Okay, just a moment.
It slide when your finger's on it, right?
No, I had left it because I thought we were done with that. And it does slide, though. 8 and 27. Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies in afflictions. Desire
them. Desire to learn of them who keep his testimonies in affliction, in the land of captivity, in bondage, in oppression, facing the temptations that lie around us because of what the heathen lays before us. Desire that. How do I get to be like them? Okay? You can go on and read 15, 24 through 25.
Okay. Verse 24. Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, saith Yahweh.
Who want to sit up and celebrate Labor Day and all these other holidays, Christmas. Yeah, I bet there's people who's already getting geared up for Christmas as we speak. Go on.
Verse 25. I will not spare them, Go your way, ye children, from the power, defile not my sanctuary.
So the Most High is not going to spare you. Okay, if you fall in love with Egypt, you fall in love with Babylon, and you want to keep their ways and forsake the ways of your forefathers, the Most High will not spare you. So when we see our brothers being killed in the street, okay, it's not because, like the scriptures say, paraphrasing, what man has been punished and not being innocent? Or being innocent, rather. Okay, so when you see these brothers being killed out in the street, I guarantee you, if you look into their life, they weren't keeping the commandments. They weren't walking upright. The Most High will not spare you. You're going to be destroyed in your wickedness because you failed to keep the commandments. All right, I'm going to grab Isaiah chapter 30, verses 1 through 3, as well as 31, verses 1. The 31 through 3. Woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they add sin to sin. Verse 2, they walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. So these are brothers who are, going out there and handing out the flyers for the census, right? Yeah, you need to fill out the census papers so, black communities can get more, funding and whatever. I don't care nothing about that. But the same people that's trying to get people registered to vote. You got to let your vote count. Same people that want to go out there with Black Lives Matter shirts on and protest and riot and do all that. Yes.
There was this black lady, I meant to tell you this, an older black woman called me from North Carolina earlier this week asking for me. Mm-hmm. And she was calling me, wanting to know if I was going to be voting and how I was going to be voting.
All the way from North Carolina?
From North Carolina.
Man.
Yeah. And it's probably because when we lived down there, we didn't, I don't know if that's the reason why, but that could just be a job that she's given to do. But when I told her that I wasn't going to be voting, she asked me why. And I told her, what have voting done for us? In all these hundreds of years that we fought to vote, what has it done for us? I said, we even had a black president, and what did he do for us? I said, we are the true children of Israel. We don't need to be voting. We need to be keeping the laws of the Most High so we can get back in our land over there in Israel and come out of captivity, because we are still in captivity. You know what she said to me?
What?
That you said some pretty interesting things to me. She said, wow. You said some things that I've never heard. Very interesting. Thank you for sharing that information. And I won't be calling you again.
Wow.
Yeah.
All praises. But, the scriptures let us know in Deuteronomy that, you shall not set a king over you that's not of your kindred, not of your brethren. Okay? Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or any other candidate that's not of us. Okay, let alone is they keeping commandments. Okay, but that's not what the Most High has called us to do. We are in the land of our captivity. But they pushing for you to get out there and vote. We got both these. At least with Donald Trump, he's a devil, right? We understand that. He's a devil. But he's a devil that's comfortable in his own skin. Joe Biden is a real snake. Mm-hmm. Because he's a filthy devil, but he wants to try to, acquiesce and try to finesse his way, in the black community to make himself, just like Hillary Clinton did, and just like all other white politicians within the Democratic Party have done for years, to get the quote-unquote black vote. They'll show up to, black churches and, go on black television stations and be interviewed by black celebrities or whatever the case may be, or black personalities. And yeah, I love fried chicken. I love watermelon and hot sauce. And he got his little running mate, Kamala Harris or whatever, to try to convince black people, look, Joe Biden's for us. She ain't even really black anyway. But you can use these as chess pieces to try to manipulate and get what you want. And while we sitting up there, voting for Joe Biden or voting for whoever, expecting things to change, things do not change. Been voting election after election after election after election after election after election, and you find that nothing has changed. But as a people, things have gotten worse. Why? Because we have failed to keep the commandments of the Most High. We running after every other thing. Let me read it again. Isaiah 31:3. Woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh, that make counsel, but not of me, and that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. They walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth. Okay, so they're doing whatever they want to do to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Verse 3. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. So the president, the newly elected president, will not be able to help you. You trust in vain. He will be to your shame. You're going to be looking sick.
And your confusion.
You're confused. You'll be looking sick 6 months later, a year, 2 years later, at the end of his administration. Nothing has literally changed. He signed maybe one bill to maybe kind of help black people. Maybe one bill. But you're literally still living in poverty from paycheck to paycheck. Are people still getting killed in the street? Still can't have adequate, funding for housing or whatever, educate, whatever. Are men still being mass incarcerated in this nation? But you trusted in Joe Biden. You trusted in Trump. You trusted in Obama. You trusted in Clinton. You trusted in Reagan. You trusted in all of these men to change your situation. They shall be to your shame. And we still don't learn the lesson. Every 4 to 8 years, we have this opportunity to learn something. We still don't learn nothing. We still come out in droves and vote. Still come out in droves to vote just to have things still be the same. It will be to your shame. Okay. Last verse, Isaiah chapter 31, verse 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek ye Yahweh. So you go down to Egypt for help. You go into the government. You filling out applications. You calling them up, trying to get aid, trying to get assistance. They're not going to help you. Because you forsook the Most High. You did not make the Most High, your help. You go into the white man to be your help. We got to come out of that and return back as a people. We must repent of our evil ways and keep the commandments of the Most High. And when it comes to this holiday, it's a day off from work, and I appreciate that. I give praise to the Most High for not having to be at work. But I'm not going to regard this day as a day worthy of observance. It's just another day. But in this month of September, we got some high holy feast days coming up. Okay? And these are the days we need to regard and acknowledge. Okay? So with that, shalom.
Shalom.